Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the National Championship edition of Today in Sports Betting. I'm joined as always by my partner in crime, my co-host. He is Scott Reichel. Scott, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. I'll tell you what, though. I think we picked a pretty good time to air this show because the football game, that's the primetime game, is bad.
Well, I don't know when this is going to air, Scott, because of course we've got to, we got to get it posted and edited and everything like that. But so we certainly picked a good time to record it.
For the record, the Browns are up three. What are they up? 3 touchdowns with the
three
ball.
Touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. As we start this recording, Ben has just thrown his second interception. Cleveland returned it to the 15. So
it looks like the first half of the Cincinnati game.
Could be 28-0 Cleveland in the first quarter very soon. So
game's over.
Who saw that coming, buddy? Huh?
Not me, but truth is, am I shocked that Pittsburgh's still bad? No, I said a month ago I thought they'd lose in the first round. I thought they were going to play Baltimore. I didn't think they'd play Cleveland. But Still, yeah, I know I had a survivor pool. I did one of those for the playoffs. So
how'd that go?
Even though I said the Steelers would lose in the first round, I picked Pittsburgh because they're awful, but I thought they could beat Cleveland with no head coach, and I didn't want to use them ever again. Plus, if you're going to save – the thing about survivor pools in the playoffs is that eventually if you get to this title game or in the conferences or the Super Bowl, you need a team left because if you have nobody, you lose by forfeit. So I picked the Steelers. They wanted to save the Chiefs and these other teams, and unfortunately, yeah, I probably should have picked the Saints or something.
Yeah, well done. All right, so let's talk about this one, Scott. Let's talk about the Super Bowl of college football as we see the Ohio State Buckeyes square off with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Currently, Scott, as we record this, the Alabama Crimson Tide's favored by a juiced 8.5. I know it's 9 in a lot of other spots. And the total on this one is 75.5, down from 76.5. So, yeah, I guess we're expecting a little bit of an offensive show. So, first of all, before we get rolling, let's talk about the injuries. Who might be back? Who's going to who's hurt? I know as we speak right now, Justin Fields is dealing with a rib injury, but all intents and purposes, it looks like he's going to go. Waddle, after being out 7 weeks, rumor is he may be back. Scott, any thoughts on those two guys?
Well, the Fields one is going to be a bigger deal for me because you've already seen how good Bama's offense has been without Waddle for the last 2 months. So
right, all they did was put the Heisman Trophy winner in at receiver.
Well, I'll get into Waddle in a second because we're going to go into details. The Fields one's the big one, of course, because he's coming off a 6-touchdown performance against Clemson where he looked like a potential top 5 pick. I still don't think he's worth it, but still.
He just wanted to make us look ridiculous because we.
Correct. It was a pure vendetta game.
I was really down on him before that game, so.
There's no reason why he shouldn't have been. I mean, we both were because we saw him against Indiana. We saw him against Northwestern. He was terrible in both games. So Absolutely. It made sense, but he was great. And Fields, as you know, in addition to having a good arm, is the fact that he's extremely mobile. And anytime you can buy extra time in the pocket, I know that that's been more and more common in football for the last, 10 years. I'm seeing mobile quarterbacks. But I think you can agree Nick Saban's teams have always struggled with mobile quarterbacks for as long as I can remember.
They absolutely have. Anybody that can get outside the pocket and still throw the ball and a threat to run is a danger to a Nick Saban team. And I don't know why that is, Scott. I'm guessing because not a lot of teams in the SEC have mobile quarterbacks that can actually do that. It seems if you think back, can you name any kind of a comp in the SEC to Justin Fields? I mean, obviously Fields is a very, very unique type of athlete, but who in the SEC this year or really any year, Scott, when was the last comp you can think of to Justin Fields in the SEC?
Well, I don't really want to make a comparison based on size or anything, but if you're talking about mobility with the ability to throw it downfield, it's going to sound like an awful comparison, but just bear with me a second. Maybe right. Matt Corral from Ole Miss.
Okay.
Maybe. It sounds awful, but if we're talking about who Alabama's played, then you can somewhat compare.
Yeah.
Is Corral the closest? I'm not going to go Kellen Mond because I don't think Mond can throw.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and
it sounds terrible. But if we're talking about teams that they faced, Corral.
I like Corral. I had Ole Miss in a game late in the season. We talked about him. We talked about Matt Corral, and he's a sneaky good quarterback. He's got a nice arm. He's got good speed.
Well, I'm bringing it up because Corral also torched Alabama earlier.
Yeah.
This year. So. Yeah. I forget what the number was there, but he had a bunch of touchdowns. Trying to remember what the exact score was. It was 63-48.
63-48. He threw for 379 yards, Scar, but more importantly, averaged 17.2 yards per throw. That's just incredible, And oh, by the way, Ole Miss, not exactly known for the running game, they chalked up 268 yards against this Bama defense. So I know a lot of it was in garbage time. I know Bama had a big lead throughout that game.
No, actually, that's not true. The game was close. I think it was a tie game in the beginning of the fourth, and then Bama scored. Then Ole Miss turned it over on downs, and then Bama blew it open.
Oh, you're right. It was a different game. I'm thinking
that game was close for most of it. But anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that Fields isn't like anybody that Bama's played before.
No,
but if you're looking at comparisons on how Bama's stacked up against mobile quarterbacks who can throw, you got, I guess, Kellen Mond, and you got Corral, and Corral absolutely demolished this team. That was earlier in the year. Bama's defense has gotten better, but I think you can agree for those comparisons because maybe Kyle Trask, but I guess they have 46 in that one. Yeah. I don't think Bo Nix is a good quarterback, so I'm not going to include the Auburn.
No.
Like I can't. That's the problem is that Fields is better than all those guys.
No, I've hammered Bo Nix all season long, as I think you have too. So it's certainly not going to be
but
I'm not going to stop now about beating up on Bo.
Bama's not been good against mobile quarterbacks all year.
No. That's So does that translate into into Ohio State victory, or at least an Ohio State cover?
Well, that takes me to my point that I was trying to make before I got sidetracked, trying to find a comparison for Fields. Was that Fields normal is extremely mobile, but now he has a bit of a rib issue. And I know that you might make the argument, well, he still has his legs, that's fine. The issue that you might have is maybe psychologically, he might be a little bit scared to potentially take some hits if he's still feeling some pain in those ribs.
Ever had a rib injury, Scott?
It's not pleasant.
It isn't. And I've played football with a rib injury, and you are thinking about it all the time. Everything you do, every time you hit somebody or take a hit, it hurts. I'm assuming it's a little less if you have a flak jacket. Of course, I never played at a level where they gave me a flak jacket, but you are absolutely thinking about it, and you are absolutely conscious of it. No question about it. Now, will that make a difference? I'm sure they're going to give him, some kind of,
I'll give him the children's medicine before the game.
It's a couple of baby aspirin. It's college football in the 21st century, buddy. It's big business, so he's going to have a painkiller in those ribs. But I don't know, Scott. This is such a lot of points. Obviously, the public's on Alabama, and I was absolutely all over Clemson last game in the semis. I did not think Ohio State had put up the body of work. I wasn't impressed with what they'd done against Indiana. Wasn't impressed with what they'd done against Northwestern. And lo and behold, like we kind of touched on earlier, they made me a complete and utter liar. So am I ready to go all in on Ohio State over Alabama? I don't know, but that's I know that 9 points seems like a lot of points, but when Alabama gets rolling, they are tough to stop. Your thoughts?
I can't really disagree with that. I feel like the line is pretty much where it should be, if I'm being honest, because Ohio State, of course, coming off the best game they've had all year. They were completely fantastic. They played basically a perfect game for 60 minutes. And you have to wonder, the game after usually doesn't go as swimmingly. Bam, on the other hand, open it up early in the first quarter. You basically saw Smith go nuts. And then Bama's second half around just said, okay, we're going to the title game. Let's relax a little bit.
Now, in some ways, and I know this kind of sounds ridiculous, Scott, but in some ways, was that Ohio State's national championship game last week? I mean, was that the game that they've been up for the whole year after Clemson beat them last season?
Well, there's a lot of additional motivation factors because you had, A, the fact that people thought they shouldn't have been in there. B, the fact that Clemson beat them last year and they had revenge. C, Dabo Swinney's ridiculous comments before the matchup. So you had all three of those going into it, and Ohio State just decided, all right, maybe it's time we shut some people up real quick and we just take care of business. So I understand what you're trying to say. Of course, they're trying to win the game. I do acknowledge the fact that they had a little bit of extra bulletin board material. Also, maybe, just maybe, Clemson wasn't as good as people thought they were.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. We'd seen weird struggles with that team. Namely like the Syracuse game where you'd seen them struggle with teams that you're thinking.
Even Virginia Tech for about a quarter and a half.
Virginia Tech was another one. And I don't want to imply. I know people are out there watching. They're like, "Oh, you think they won't get up?" And I'm not saying they're not going to get up for the national championship game. Obviously, they're going to be motivated. I just wonder that I really think they had this rematch with Clemson circled on their calendar for.
I think Clemson just had no urgency in that entire game.
No, and after the scripted plays ran out, that offense was kind of in the doldrums. Now, this brings me back to another point. How much of that game was predicated on the fact they were missing their play caller? How much of it would you think Clemson's offense just wasn't ready to go, or how much of it do you think was predicated on the fact that their play caller was out with COVID?
At the end of the day, I think it mattered, but I think Ohio State would have won anyway because they scored 49 points. So the main reason why Clemson lost because their defense couldn't get off the field. But I do agree that the changing of a play caller definitely at this stage in the season ruins all of the routine and everything that you've had, or at least the familiarity you have calling plays for players. But at the end of the day, you turn on the game, and maybe Clemson got a little bit full of themselves. They heard all the reports that just thought, oh, we're having Clemson and Bama again. Oh, we're going to have another matchup, Clemson-Bama. This team doesn't have a shot. And Clemson maybe was feeling themselves a little bit, and they got punched in the mouth, and they caved. Is that a fair summary of the game?
That's
That's what it looked like to me.
That's the way it looked. Yeah. No, this Ohio State defense, obviously they're probably not the unit they were last year. Obviously they're missing a couple of key parts that they don't have anymore because of graduation and whatnot. Still a decent unit, but there's a couple of troubling signs, Scott. They gave up 25 to Penn State, gave up 27 to Rutgers, 35 to Indiana in a game that they had well in hand and let Indiana come back in it. I don't know, man. I worry about what this Bama team is going to do. Any team where Penn State puts up 25, I worry what Alabama's going to do.
It's a fair point.
I honestly do. I think at the end of the day, we want a big reveal at the end of the show with our picks, but I think I've got to go with Bama here, Scott. I love that offense. Don't worry, Ohio State. I'm not down on you like I was before the last game. I appreciate the effort. You played a hell of a game, almost perfect in both facets of the ball. But this Alabama team to me is something special. I'm not sure that this Ohio State team can just sit down and outscore this Alabama offense. I think Alabama gets a couple of stops, and I think it could be over.
Well, truth is, if I had to look at any spot here, I was thinking of maybe doing a separate video for it, but realistically, I since we're doing this, I probably don't need to.
Okay.
I'm not going to touch the side. Truth is, I would probably lean to – I'm actually going to lean to Ohio State plus the points.
Okay.
But for the sake of my favorite, I guess, lean on the game, I got to look at the under.
Okay. Yeah,
I know that Bama, and you saw them against Florida, and the defense sucked, and I get it. I just can't take an over 75 in a title game. I just can't do it. It's just a matter of looking at the game, and you say, well, yeah, but Bama's going to score 42 points in this game, which I think you can argue is a fair guess.
Sure.
Because of the fact that based on the spread, based on the total, everything like that, I'm trying to do it.
Based on the fact Alabama averaged over 48 points a game.
Yeah, we're looking at around I'm trying to think of the score that it's.
Well, 42-33 would be a 9-point spread, and that put us at 75. That would put it at the
end. Okay, fine. So, yeah, you got 42. Let's say 42 for Bama, I think, is a fair assumption. If you think Ohio State's defense is better than the teams that Alabama's facing, I think it is, because Florida's defense is atrocious. Basically, the entire SEC's defense is terrible.
All right.
Besides Notre Dame, which gave up 31, but, Alabama just took a nap after that. So let's say Bama scores 42.
Right.
You still need about 34, 35 to lose the over from Ohio State.
34, yeah.
So based on that, Bama could go nuts, but you can easily win this bet if one of these offenses goes nuts and the other one doesn't do much.
You worried about garbage time?
Truth is no, because I think Bama has the ability to kill clock.
Yeah.
Like Najee Harris, he might not be the fastest guy in the world, but he's got this Alvin Kamara type of balance where he just bounces off people and picks up 4 yards every carry, even when he's stopped behind the line of scrimmage. I can't really find a comparison for him. Kamara makes sense because you just assume he's in a pile, and it's he lost 2 yards. Wait a second, he actually gained 6?
Right.
How do you do that? I feel like that's what Najee Harris does. So I know Saban likes to go fast. He tends to, go quickly. Late in the game, at the end, I expect them to try to pound the rock, try to eat up clock. There's a title at risk. I don't think they're going to go for no huddle, whatever. So for me, personally, I'll lean under. But I'm aware that if you're going to be watching this game, you shouldn't take the under because you're going to be miserable for about 3 hours watching this game if you have money on the under.
Okay, so here's the deal. I'm not gonna let us sit here and do a 20, 30-minute video and have you not make a real pick.
I'll tell you what, I'm stalling. I'm stalling because I'm looking at player props right now. So bear with me, but for the sake of spread total stuff, because I know some people who have watched our videos have complained about how they don't want props, they want actual picks.
Yep.
I'll go with the under.
Okay. All right. So that's your main pick from the game.
Correct.
And can I get an Ohio State lean out of you plus the 8.5?
I'm leaning Ohio State. That I got, but I'm saying I'm more confident in the under.
Okay.
Or whatever the hell you want to call it.
All right. Very good. And I am also more confident, obviously, in my premium pick. But I do like Alabama in this spot, Scott. I was going to say a big Bama fan. I'm not. I don't like them.
I hate Ohio State with a passion because I went to school in Wisconsin.
If anything's possible, yeah, I probably dislike Ohio State more. But I'll be the first to admit, as a Mizzou fan and a K-State fan, could be a fair amount of jealousy sprinkled in there. So I don't want to go off on the I hate Bama and Ohio State bandwagon too much. I respect both those programs. They've done a hell of a job year in, year out. So I'm going to I'll take Alabama. If you're interested in finding out what my best play on this is, obviously check out my premium play. But I've got Alabama. I'll lay anything south to 10. If it gets to 9.5, I'll go ahead and I'll lay that. That doesn't seem to be the direction it's going right now, but you never know what's going to happen day of. So
you expect a lot of line movement? Because I really don't.
I don't, but I don't know how much attention everybody's paid to it, Scott. It's an interesting situation with the playoffs. This 6 playoff games the 2 days before, so it may not have caught everyone's attention except for a fair amount of sharp players and a few recreational players. But I think the recreational players are going to make their bets on Monday. So I don't expect a ton of live minute, and I don't expect it to go through any key numbers. Like I said, that's why I thought 9.5 would be my ceiling on this. I don't expect it to go anywhere near 7. I don't expect it to go anywhere near 10. So no, I don't think there's any critical line movement. Could there be some bouncing around between 7.5 and 9? Sure, yeah, that happens. It's not hard to move off of those numbers. And as always, shop your numbers because you could definitely find some disparity out there from sportsbook to sportsbook.
Definitely true. Now, from what I've seen from Bama this season, I think you'd agree with me that their pass defense is worse than the run defense.
Yeah.
So for that reason, if I had to go with an official play, I'll take Fields over 290.5 passing yards.
Okay. All right.
It's at minus 113 on FanDuel.
Yeah, that gives you a couple of different options there. It gives you the option of Ohio State just coming out and dominating and throwing the ball, and it also gives you the option of them chasing, which I think is a very real possibility.
Under no circumstance he's getting benched. So you should have 4 quarters to work with here. Now, the injury maybe, but that might affect his mobility. So if Fields isn't going to be running as much, he might just be stuck in the pocket throwing the ball.
Are they going to – because they're going to come out and try to run the ball with Trey Sermon. They found something in the last couple
That's what I thought they were going to do, but then against Clemson, they threw it for 6 touchdowns and 300-something yards.
Yeah, but he still run for over 540 yards last 2 games, Scott.
Correct. I'm just saying that Ohio State, when you think that they're only going to try to run it or try to establish the run, it's not like Fields is still not getting his because he's still getting his. So
yeah, 290 seems like a good number. I will endorse that play as well, I think.
Yeah. So if I had to go for an official play, I'll take the over 290.5 on Justin Fields passing yards at minus 113 on FanDuel. And for leans, I'll lean to the under and I'll lean to Ohio State.
All right, very good. And that's a little something for everybody here on the show. Gives you a pick from each of us on the side, gives you a pick from you on the total, and it gives you your best play as far as prop action goes.
Let me ask, I know you don't have the props in front of you. I do for FanDuel. Are you looking at any Bama receivers, running backs, anything like that, where you just might think this guy's going to have a big game?
Yeah,
I can give you numbers right now if you wanted to know. That's why I'm asking.
Well, obviously the one I'm looking at is
Devontae.
Okay, yeah, is going to be receiver props for Alabama.
Well, Devontae's receiving yards is at 137.5. Receptions is, I believe, 7.5.
I like the over receptions. I'm not sure.
That minus 132.
Yeah, I'll pay the juice. I don't care. That's fine. Well, I don't love it, but I think the probability still outweighs that.
That's fair.
So, all right, very good. It should be a fun game. I really hoping for a tight game. Haven't had a lot of those in the national championship game.
Yeah. For the record, by the way, there's a 0% chance I'm taking Mac Jones over 365.5 passing yards, like minus 120. Like 0% chance I'm taking
that. Seems like a lot, And you and I talked about Jalen Waddle, Scott, before the show, and I think you and I both agree that if he plays, he's going to be mainly a decoy. Do we have a number of receptions for Jalen Waddle?
I do not see him listed. I know we're actually going to get back to that. Thank you for reminding me because we ended up not doing that.
Right.
I think that Waddle, if anything, will be the punt returner, maybe a kickoff returner too. But in terms of actual, offensive contributions, maybe he'll run 5 go routes, and we'll just say if you burn somebody, then good for you. But if not, we're not going to use you that often. Like in terms of snap percentage,
yeah,
over under 40%.
Oh, under.
I agree. I think he'll play around a third.
Yeah, I was going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 25%. I just don't think he's that well.
Assuming it's not an insane game flow where Ohio State kills him by 20-something. Assuming it's a normal game flow where the game's close throughout, I'll say around 35%.
And I will say that I think Waddle being out is baked into this number already.
I agree. I'm saying that if Ohio State is up a ton, then I think he'll play more snaps out of desperation. But
that would be the only thing I could see would make a dramatic line move if they get up tomorrow morning. They talk to Saban or Saban, they send out a tweet or something, and Jalen Waddle is at 100% he's going to play. I think that could maybe send it north of 10. I think Jalen Waddle may be worth 1.5 to 2 points.
Well, he's great. I still don't understand how some people say he's better than Smith. I don't know how you make that argument. Well, I think Smith is ridiculous. But
10 weeks ago, Scott, you wouldn't have anybody that would have said the opposite.
Truth is, I always thought Smith was better.
Well, Waddle was the go-to receiver. That's pretty much what it was the whole first part of the year. So
it was just my opinion. I always thought Smith was more reliable. But then again, it's just a matter of both of them are insanely talented. It's really picking. It's like picking your favorite kid. Like they're both going to go top 10 if they're healthy. Like they're both ridiculous talents.
I think they both play in the NFL. I don't care what you say.
I think that's sizzling hot take. But yeah, it's just a matter of looking at this line saying, I think Waddle's going to be playing a limited amount of snaps. I don't know how big of a contribution he's going to have, maybe in special teams. But I do think that Mac Jones passing yards prop's insanely high.
Yeah.
365.5. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's strong. That's strong indeed. Yeah, I think I just, again, I don't love laying the points like that, but I got to do it. This is a fantastic Alabama.
Part of it's wishful thinking because if Bama wins this game by 28, I'm going to be really bothered just because of pure boredom.
Yeah,
there's no Monday Night Football games. The NFL games this past weekend were kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, you had a couple of games there that were somewhat competitive, but not really. Games really weren't that great. If I see a title game that's a blowout, I'm going to be pretty bothered.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And I think it's a distinct possibility. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'll take Ohio. I'll swallow my pride, take Ohio State plus the points in the under. But I do really like that Fields over in passing yards.
All right, very good. And as always, if you're looking for more information on this game or any other game, don't forget to stop by and check out where, Scott?
Winnersandwiners.com.
That's right, winnersandwiners.com, doing deep dives into every game every single day. The bigger the game, the bigger the write-up, too. So a lot of good information on this game over there at winnersandwiners.com. And as always, we appreciate you guys giving us the look. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to drop us a note in the comment section. Let us know what you're on. If you got any props cooked up or anything, or what you think of our hot takes with which side we're on, whatever it is, we'd love to hear from you guys. All right. So, everybody have a great day. Hope every one of those bets turns into cash money back at the window for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Winers. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you watching throughout the entire season. It's been a fun college football year. Scott and I battled it out to the last week. That was a lot of fun. So, I'm looking forward to September, people in the stands, and another fun year of college football. For now, let's see if we can finish it with a flurry. All right, you guys take care. Have a great day. Good luck. And we'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.